New Year's resolutions. Did you make a New Year's resolution last night? Did you make one last year and the year before that? If you did you stick with them? Did you see the results of your last year's New Year's resolution before you made this one this year? You can make a New Year's resolution any day of the week. It's your discipline, your determination, your tenacity, your persistence, your perseverance that's going to help those come to fruition. Without that, you can make a New Year's resolution every day, and it isn't going to make a difference in your life. I spoke last night on thinking. How is your life today? If your life got better last year, just keep doing what you've been doing. If it got worse, then you need to change something. And the first change needs to begin within you. It's not out there, it's not the women, it's not your boss, it's not the government. You need to change first. You want to make a difference in the world? Make a difference in your inner world, your thought life. How do you think you're going to have good things come to you if you're criticizing and condemning everyone? I know that's something that I've struggled with all my life because my mother was very critical. No matter what I did, it was just never good enough. Or at least that's the way I felt about it. And thus, the things we don't like many times about our parents or people that raised us, we pick up those things and do the very same things. So if you recognize that, then you can do something about it. If you don't, then you continue to do the same thing. And that's why I spoke so much about contemplation. Review your life over the last year before you set out and make this New Year's resolution. Sure, we all want our life to be changed, to be different. But remember, everything you have today is something you wanted yesterday. And if you're not happy with what you have today, why do you think or imagine that you're going to be happy in the future with whatever it is you want in the future that you don't have today? Think about that for a moment. What is it you're dreaming about today? What goals do you have set today? I hope you have some goals set that you feel like or believe that if you achieve that your life would be better. I believe we should have goals. We should strive for more or better. But it's really not about achieving the goal so much as it is about changing you in the process, changing the world in the process. Because as I said, as you change yourself, your world seems to change. Now you may think that's ridiculous, but why is it two people can look at the same thing and see two different things? One sees beauty, one sees ashes. One sees a beautiful city, the other sees a dirty, dangerous jungle. Same view, different perception, because each of us perceives the outside world within our mind. You think everything is out there? You think you're hearing my voice through whatever device you're listening to me from? But it's actually resonating within your mind. Whatever you're watching me on, it's not out there, it's within your mind. And everything is perceived through the filters and experiences, whether good or bad, that you've had in your life. It's all seen and experienced and heard through those filters. That's why some people get offended so easily, because they've grown up around people who believed in being offended, who believed that other people's opinions were more important than their own opinions of themselves. People who cry for acceptance and want others to change have not yet accepted themselves. Because I'm telling you, when you accept yourself, it really doesn't matter what other people think of you. And for you guys out there that are dating, quit seeking the girl's approval. I know it's hard because we grow up wanting our mothers to love us. We seek our mother's approval. Most of us do. And then we're raised in school or daycare or both for years with women. And we need their approval. We need to get good grades. We need to behave in class. We need to do what they tell us. But too many of you carry this out into your life. And then you wonder why you have poor success or no success at all with women. A woman can't stand an approval-seeking man. Now, I piss a lot of women off because I don't seek women's approval. Have I? Yeah, I have, to my detriment. I know. I've experienced it. And many of you get in tough positions because you work for women, but you still don't have to seek their approval. I'm not telling you to be rude. I'm telling you to be a man. Men have forgotten how to be men. They are feminine, more so than real men. It amazes me, and then they wonder why women aren't attracted to them. Never listen to what a woman says about what she desires or what she's attracted to. Watch what she is attracted to. Watch her actions. And it's difficult because we're all taught to be nice guys. Most of us are. And unless you had a role model to show you otherwise, and you were able to watch how that worked with women, because the opposite is true of what we're taught. Women like the three dark triad traits, the narcissistic traits. It's selfishness. I can't say the word machiavellism. I can't say the word. But they like guys like that. And to us, a lot of times it doesn't make sense. Why are they attracted to guys that are sometimes dishonest, manipulative, and out for themselves? Because just like us, we can't help but being attracted to a young woman who walks by. Even if we're married, we still look at her and have a desire for her. Now, that doesn't mean we have to act on that, but we have the desire. To deny that, you're lying to yourself as a man. If you see a beautiful woman walk by and she smiles at you and she appears to have a wonderful personality, she's just like you like them, whatever that is, thick, thin, built, big breasts, small breasts, nice butt, whatever you like, you're going to be attracted to her. It's a primordial response. It's an evolutionary response. It's something that's just in us. The same way with women. They are attracted to men who seem somewhat selfish, the chads if you like, the men who mate with more girls, because it's an evolutionary response. Because that man is strong, that man takes care of himself, he's going to do what he has to do to get what he wants. Now that doesn't coincide with do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but no one ever said attraction does. But she knows if she's with this man, she will survive, and her children will survive. If she decides to have offspring with him, her children will survive also. She doesn't consciously think of this, and I'm not saying that women are how would I say? Well, ignorant. They're not, but they're ignorant of this the same way as men are ignorant of why they're attracted to certain things, why they feel it's desire or even sometimes a compulsion to cheat on their wife. Because men are designed to be fruitful and multiply, to spread as much seed as they can. Doesn't mean you have to succumb to these desires. We have control. Men have logic. Men have emotional control, at least you should have as a man. And if you don't, you need to develop that. Very important. He who controls himself or conquers himself is greater than he who takes a city. If you can't control yourself, don't expect or anticipate that you're ever going to be able to control situations in your outer world. Because everything is a correlation to what goes on inside of you. If you're lacking inside, you're going to be lacking outside. If you're abundant inside, if you have an abundant mentality, then you're going to have abundance on the outside. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to ever experience seasons of lack, because these times are character building times. If you always got what you wanted easily, there would be no room for growth. And as I said earlier, it's not so much about what you get in life, although I want more. and I want certain events and things to happen in my life. I have goals. But it's what you become in the process. What are you becoming in the process? How are you moving forward to achieve those goals? Are you doing it with integrity? Are you doing it with honesty? Now let me back up a little bit. I talked about women being attracted to manipulative, dishonest, and deceitful men. That's true. But they're also attracted to men of integrity, men who are honest. And what do I mean by that? I mean like this. If a woman comes up to you and says, "How do you like my hair?" and you don't like it and you say, "Oh, it looks great, baby," that's lying. That's dishonest. You're trying to be a nice guy. If you don't like it, say so. One of my ex-girlfriends just contacted me yesterday or a couple days ago. I hadn't talked to her for about a month and a half, so anyway, and then she sends me a video of herself, and she colored her hair some blonde streak. And I said, "You ruined your hair." She said, "Well, I like it." I said, "Well, I don't." I said, "You have too much makeup on too." Now, I'm being honest. A lot of people would think that's being rude. I don't care whether she likes it or not. Too many times you guys suck up to these beautiful women. "Oh, well, I'll tell her what she wants to hear. I'm not going to tell her I don't like that. I'm not going to tell her that doesn't look good. I'm not going to tell her I really don't want to go to that restaurant. I'm just going to go with her to please her because you want her approval. You want her to like you." And the opposite is true. You have got to be a man of direction, a man who decides what he wants to do when he decides to do it. Now, I know that doesn't go along with today's society, like you got to compromise and you got to do this and you got to do that. But these are the things women are telling you they want. That's not what they're attracted to. That's not the kind of man they stay with. That's not the kind of man they admire. You have to quit listening to what they say. Now, you can take that to an extreme. Of course, you need to listen to her, but you don't necessarily need to do everything she says. Some of you guys want to take that to the extreme. There's nothing wrong if she wants to go to McDonald's with her. But if you had your heart set on the steakhouse and you decide, "Well, I'll go to McDonald's with her," then you're not being true to yourself as a man. You think that's going to gain you brownie points with her, but it doesn't. The opposite is true. I give you an example of one of my sons the other night. His girlfriend and him had plans to do something, and at the last minute she changed the plans, and then she also wanted him to change his plans, and he was unsure what to do. And I said, "You need to do what you said you were going to do in the first place." And that's what he did. Now, that wasn't the easy thing to do. He would have liked to, "Okay, well, I'll do what you want to do, honey." He would like to have compromised or cooperated. And I'm not saying you should never cooperate, but more times than not, if you do what she says she wants you to do, she will lose respect for you because she has taken you off of your direction, off of your mission, when she knows you really have wanted to do something, but you don't do it because of her. Now, logically, us men, we think that would gain us some brownie points, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And many of you guys need to learn how to say no. No. Simple as that. No argument. Quit arguing with women. Arguing with women shows them that you need them to agree with you, that it's important to get your point across because you want them to know that you're right. You need their approval of this disagreement. You should never need anything from a woman that you can't give to yourself. You shouldn't, sex, you should never need sex from a woman. It's okay to want sex, but you can get sex from any woman. It all feels pretty much the same. Now, I admit if there's no connection, I know you guys like to have connection. I do too. In your 20s, sometimes you go out there, it doesn't matter much. You just want to be with them physically. But as you get older, you want something with a little more depth. And that becomes a challenge. Because many times girls, and there's men too, that are superficial. The reason it's hard to find someone of depth is because it's very frightening. And a lot of you guys may feel the same way. When you open up to someone and when you're vulnerable, and I don't like that word. I'm not telling you to be vulnerable with any woman. But when you open your heart and allow that to have feelings for that, when you catch feelings for that person, you need to keep that in perspective, because if she feels like that she has become very important to you, that lowers her attraction. She can be important to you. You can love her, but just don't be in love. Let her be in love with you. Always know that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay with her, without her, with her and the kids, or without her and the kids. And she is there because you want her to be there, not because you need her to be there. I heard someone say something about having an escape plan when you're married. And if you do have an escape plan or a prenup, that you're not really married, you just have a girlfriend. Well, I tend to disagree with that. This man had only been married a year, but he honestly said, I may change my mind in 5 years. So he understands himself. And I understand what he means by that, because if you go into a marriage with the idea that you may break up, are you setting yourself up for failure, or are you being prudent and wise? Here's the deal. Marriage is not the same now as it was 50 years ago or 100 years ago. Even 50 years ago, there was such a thing as called fault divorce. If she cheated on you or you cheated on her, that was called adultery, and it was the evidence in court that she failed the contract or he failed the contract. Now the marriage means nothing, except if you leave her, you may end up paying alimony, and if you have kids, you're going to pay child support for the rest of the kids, young adult life until they're 22, and you may have to pay for college. And I'll guarantee you, because I've been on both ends of that, you will pay more than it costs just to raise those kids. Yeah, that's the deal. And what do you get out of the deal of marriage? What do you get as a man? A security? You think you've got your woman nailed down? She's not going to cheat on you? She's not going to run around? No, if she's going to cheat or run around, whether you're married or not married, that is not going to stop her, because it's so accepted in today's society. Oh, if you're not happy, girl, you need to do something. Don't stay with him. You can do better if you don't feel like you love him. And then one day she comes up to you, if she's got enough integrity to tell you, well, honey, I just don't feel like I love you. I need time. I need some space. And what are you going to do about it? She can divorce you tomorrow. The certificate means nothing. Or she can stop making love to you. What are you going to do about that? That's part of the contract, actually. To have and to hold, you give each other. You don't deny each other unless you're sick or something like that. So all these things are something to take into consideration before you marry. Very important. But back to my original thing, the original point here of changing your new year. These are things that you need to contemplate: what you desire in life, what you want from a woman, what you're willing to give a woman. How much game do you understand? Because life is a game, and if you don't learn how to play it, you're going to lose. There are parts of the game or aspects of the game of life right now where I'm still learning at 62. I'm going through a very character building situation in my life right now. I don't like it. I don't like the discomfort. But part of the problem with us here in the West is we are too damn comfortable. You need to accept discomfort. You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, because I guarantee you life is going to present you with uncomfortable, extremely challenging situations. And the more you put yourself in uncomfortable, challenging situations, the more you will be able to accept the challenges that come to you in life and overcome them and come out on the other side a stronger, better man. And do you know what women are really attracted to once they get past the looks? What you got inside of you is the only thing that's going to keep a woman attracted to you. Sure, she's attracted to the handsome Chad guy, but that's not the guy she's going to stay with. That may be the guy she goes to bed with, but do you really want a woman like that goes to bed with every good-looking guy that comes around? I'm telling you, you don't. I've had girls, I've been married to girls, and I've had girls that were virgins, and I've had girls that's had one or two guys, and I've had girls that's had a lot of guys. And the instability of the ones with high body count is much greater than the ones with low body count or no body count. When those women get together with you, the low body count girls or the no body count girls, they don't want to go out with somebody else. They want that to work, and they're willing to stick it out during the tough times and make it work. Yeah, so that's something to remember if you find a girl like that. Maybe you ask, well, Mark, why didn't you stay with those girls? I had one. Well, I had a couple of them, but I wanted to run. I was in my 20s, and I wanted to date. I wanted to sleep with other women. The first one I was dated for 5 years, and I told her, I said, I had cheated on her many times, and I just didn't, I had quit drinking. I was into boxing. I just didn't feel good about what I was doing, so I told her, I said, I want to date other girls. So we broke up. And the next guy she went with after me, that's the guy she married. And that's been, how many years? 40-some years, maybe? 40, 50, 60, yeah, something like that. And she's still married to that man today. Yeah, so that's the way life works. So if nothing else, listen to what I'm telling you and try it. If it doesn't work, then just ditch it. Take what you need and leave the rest. But I'm passing what I've I'm passing on to you what I've learned in my life, the wisdom I've acquired through the years. And it wasn't easily gained. I've made a lot of mistakes. And guess what? If you're out there trying, you're going to make a lot of mistakes too. But don't let that get you down. If you're not failing, you are not trying. I've said this before, but we're taught in school that failure is bad. I failed in some things in the last few days. I made a live video last night. I can't figure out how to shut the damn thing off on the phone, because I used my phone to do it because we didn't have an actual podcast. And at the end of the video, it's like, well, you can see it if you watch it. So what? I'll get it one of these days. That's not the first time I've made that mistake. Those things happen. Just get up, get out there and try. Approach that pretty girl. What's the worst thing that can happen? She could say, get away from me, you creep. More than likely, that's not going to happen. But I'm guaranteeing you feel better once you show up as a man and face that fear. You can at least walk away with your balls in your hand, knowing that you faced your fear. And that's what it's all about. It's not about whether you get the girl. It's about you overcoming the challenges in front of you. Today we have things so easy, as I've said before, that we don't have challenges. You have to make yourself. Get in the cold shower every morning. And especially if you live here like in Missouri, or I'm sure up north, it's cold as hell. It's it doesn't sound right, cold as hell. It's cold as the Antarctica. I'll say it that way. It hurts, it's so cold. But you willingly put yourself in those adverse situations. Guess what? The next adverse situation, the next challenge that comes up, it's easier for you to step into it. And let me tell you, everything you want, everything, that beautiful girl, that high income, that job, that house, that car, that Ferrari, whatever it is you want, is on the other side of fear. And unless you're willing to walk through that fear and face it, you will never achieve your desires. And as a man, you're going to live a completely unfulfilled life. That's where man gets his sense of fulfillment. It's not so much in achieving the goal, but it's in facing the little challenges and confronting the fears on the road to the goal. The old adage, the joy is in the journey, is very true. If you could snap your fingers right now and have everything you wanted, do you think you would be happy? I'll guarantee you, for a few moments, an hour, 2 hours, maybe a day or two, you would feel exhilarated, but you would never get the fulfillment that you would get had you gotten those things with a long, arduous journey. It's just the way we humans are. We love the striving. We love the challenges. No, when we're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel good. We think we don't like it. But I can look back on my life. I've been married 4 times. Some people might say, well, you four failures. Was it indeed? Did I learn something from those? Yes, I did. Did I have some good years? Yes, I did. Do I have children? Yes, a lot of children. Would I have had those children? Were I afraid to try again? I have 6 wonderful, beautiful children right now that live here with me. Well, the older one's gone. I would not have those if I thought, well, I've been married 3 times. I better not try that again. And here I would be. I probably wouldn't be here making videos. But it's because of the youth of my children that I've managed to stay young. You want to get old? Go hang around with old people. Want to stay young? Stick with young people, or at least people with a young mind. Because you find out that they have the same challenges, aches and pains and problems that you have. But you've forgotten because you've gotten older, for my older viewers. Well, I could talk on and on all day. Not sure how many people are listening. But I suggest you do listen. And if you don't listen to me, go find someone else that's lived life, that's willing to share his life with you. We have a treasure beyond price in nursing homes. A wisdom cannot be measured in nursing homes. We don't value age. We don't value those years. Whatever business you're in, let's say you're in business, you've been doing it for 5, 10 years, you're working for a company, whatever your trade is, if I come in there, I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it, but you do. So I'm going to listen to you. I've lived 62 years. I have a lot of life experience. I've been blessed with a lot of adventures, a lot of things I've done that people only dream about doing. Some of those are nightmares, I suppose. But I love it. I'm glad to have all those experiences. When I look back on that in my life, it's a treasure that you can't put a price on. And when it's all said and done, you're on your deathbed, what do you have? The memories of the relationships you've made, the love you've given, the love you've received. You're not going to be thinking about all the money and the houses and the cars or whatever it was that you achieved, if you've achieved that. You're going to be thinking about the people that were important in your life. I think about that myself now. The relationships, even the ones that went bad. Even those relationships that turned out in divorce and they tried to destroy me. I'm grateful for all of that. It made me who I am today, and it was just what I needed to beat me down to my right size, to knock out a lot of that arrogance I had. Am I completely arrogant free? No, I'm not. And I say better to err on the side of arrogance than self-debasing humility. Humility is important. I heard a joke the other day. The guy said, I was going to speak on humility, but there just aren't enough people here. I got a kick out of that. There was a time in my life when I probably felt like that. Everything that I gained was used to glorify myself, to magnify my local fame. And of course, I crashed and burned because all I ever thought about was me. And I remember being in my apartment one night, walking from the mirror after I just finished looking at myself, and I hated what I saw in that mirror. I hated what I had become. I was 29 or 30 at the time. Walked in my bedroom by myself in this apartment in another town that I didn't know too many people. And I thought, Mark, you're alone because that's all you ever thought about was yourself. And that was true. What's in it for me? And I realized since the years have passed then, is if I want something for myself, I got to give it away to you. And if I can share something that makes your life better, guess what? My life becomes even more better. I'm not sure how that works, but that's like a universal law, God's law, whatever you want to call it. You reap what you sow, or what goes around comes around. What's the other one? Karma. It's amazing how many people talk of that, but yet few people live by it because the effects are not always immediate. Today I'm putting value out there. Some of you may find great value in what I'm saying today. Some of you may find no value in what I'm saying today. But it's the intention. My intention is to give you value, to give you something you can use to make your life better, richer, and fuller. And here's the deal. People judge us by our actions, but God judges me by my intentions. Whether this message today helps anybody doesn't matter. My intention will be rewarded back multiplicatively. So by my intention of wanting to help you in your life and make your life better, my life will become better multiplicatively of what I'm putting out to you. And that's why I do it. I don't expect anything from any of you. You don't owe me anything. I give this to you for free and for fun. Now, would I like to make money on consultations? Of course I would. I've made a little money. I've done some consultations. But yet, when I give this value out to you now, it's free. You don't have to pay me anything. You don't have to give me anything. And all the other videos I've done before, I think I have about 1,000 videos, and I'll have more in the future, God willing. Now, it takes time for value to come back to you. Some of you maybe get tired of, man, I've been helping, I've been doing this, and nothing comes back. Don't expect it back from the people you give it to, but it will come back to you. When you throw a ball up in the air, it's got to come down. When you do something to or for someone else, it will come back to you, and something will be done to or for you multiplied. You plant the seed in the ground, it doesn't come up overnight now, does it? But you don't have to go out there and watch it and wait, and oh, when's it going to come up? It'll come when you least expect it. And that's the way life is. It took me 30 years to figure that out, and it's been 32 years since then, and I'm still honing that to a fine skill. Yes, you're going to get frustrated sometimes. You're not going to understand things. You're not going to understand why maybe there's a time in your life when it seems terrible things are happening to you. But you are in the middle of a big puzzle that you can't even possibly begin to understand how it all fits and works together. But if you have goals, you have a dream, and you can continue to persist and persevere and get up and don't give up, you will see the wisdom in it when you look back in retrospect. And I know some of you go through some really hard times. I have a guy who follows me on Instagram, and this guy's got an x-ray of his back just broke. I mean, it broke in two. I mean, it's like, and of course he's paralyzed for the rest of his life. He's in a wheelchair, but he works out, he's big, you know. He didn't give up. He got back up. Probably had to crawl back up. Now, if you feel like your life is difficult or hard, or you got it tough, or everything goes wrong for you, think about people like that. Look around at the world. Many people have it so much worse than you have it. And if you live here in a first world country like I do, you live in paradise and you don't even know it. But if you don't know the contrast, it's all relative to what you're used to. These are all things you need to think about this year. Think for yourself. Quit allowing social media, news media, and all those other, people out there with their agenda. They're wanting you to think a certain way. They want you to consume. They want you to follow their agenda. Andrew Tate stood up for what he believed in. Regardless of whether you like him or not, his message is a message of freedom, a message of becoming what you came here to become. And he's willing to put his butt on the line when he doesn't have to. He doesn't need the money. But he's doing it because he knows that's what he come here to do. And he knows no matter how much money or women or whatever he achieves, that unless he fulfills his purpose in life, his life is worthless. And you have a purpose too. And unless you pursue that purpose with your whole heart, you will have a feeling of emptiness that no drug, no alcohol, no medication can heal or fill. Too many people today are depressed, despondent, discouraged, disillusioned. because they're not following that inner desire that we all have. They're not following it because they're afraid or because someone said, you can't do that. You better stick to that regular 9-to-5 job. Or they started and things got tough and they gave up. And I'm not bad-mouthing anyone for giving up. Life can be tough. Life can turn people bitter. It can either make you bitter or better. The choice is yours. I don't know why I've chosen to continue to seek the better path instead of the bitter path. Are there times when I feel bitter? Yes, there are. But do I let that control my actions? No, I don't. I told you back when I was 30, about 6 months before that, I was angry at my ex-girlfriend, angry at the world, and I thought I had a choice right then to become, it might have been a year before that, I thought about becoming a drug dealer. So I'm either going to become a drug dealer because those guys are the ones making it, they got the women, they got this, they got that, but I didn't, because I knew that wasn't my calling. So I decided to start looking within myself and asking God for help. Was I saved? Well, yeah, maybe I was saved. Not in the sense of religion. I was saved from myself, and I continue to be saved from myself. If you're thirsty and out in the desert, it's not a man called Jesus that's going to save you. Water is going to save you. If you're broke and poor and you're getting kicked out of your house, it's not a man called Jesus that's going to save you. Money is going to save you. But a man called Jesus and many others taught us the way to salvation, whatever salvation may be for you in a certain situation. If you're sick and dying of cancer, Jesus won't save you, but Jesus showed you the way to look within to find that power that lies within all of us, the Father within that will save you. Health will be your Savior. If you're broke, money will be your Savior. That's where things, I believe, have gotten confused when it comes to religion, at least our Christian religion here. That's just my view. I could be wrong. It works for me. But I do believe in something greater than myself. I do believe there is a God which is totally unexplainable to me, and I don't believe anyone can explain it. If God is God and He's infinite, and I don't even like to use the word pronoun He, it would probably be more proper. I don't believe God gets jealous. I don't believe God gets angry. I don't believe He gets frustrated with me. But I believe I'm made in a way that if I don't, if my life is not congruent with universal laws set down by God or by something greater than myself, I will crash and burn, because I have crashed and burned before. But when I make my life congruent with universal laws, things go better. And I may go through challenges and struggles like I'm going through now, but in the end, things work out well. Things work out great. Things work out better than I could have imagined. As I look back on the last 30 years of my life, I've told you guys before, I had two ex-wives and an ex-girlfriend get up on the stand and lie about me with some pretty malicious lies to have me thrown in jail. All untrue, but they did it. Why did they do it? Because I didn't want anything to do with them anymore. There you go. This happens. And you see similar to this happening now to other people in our society. Famous basketball stars, different people. Andrew Tate, he's got 6 women, they say, that are testifying against him for the lover boy law and rape. Can't say that word. Grape. So who knows what's going to happen there? I'm not sure, but this happens. Hopefully he'll get through this. But he is a man of persistence, tenacity, and perseverance. And he's chosen to stand up against the system for you and I. A lot of people don't think that. A lot of people are happy to see him in trouble, to see him fall. Why? He speaks a message of truth and freedom. I know many people in the past have spoken the same message. And look what they did to them. The masses. One man was crucified. Yeah, because he did not go along with the governments and the religions of the time. Joan of Arc is another one. many, many great people. William Wallace. Look at the pages of history. What happens to people who stand up against the established forces and powers of the time? Same thing is happening now. History repeats itself. So if you don't want your history to repeat itself, if last year was a bad year, then make this next year your best one. And begin that by contemplating your life and how you got to where you are today. Keep what works, discard the rest, and put something new in there. You're not a vacuum. If you get rid of a bad habit, you need to replace it with something new. If you get rid of bad thinking, you can't unthink. You have to put in new thoughts, new affirmations, new actions. All these things are within your power. Greater is he or it that is within you than he or it that is in the world. You create your world by your thoughts. It's up to you. I wish you the very, very best New Year's. I hope that all your dreams come true this year, as I would want mine to come true. So I'm going to leave with that. You have a wonderful day. If you'd like to get my help personally, website, marksinspiration.com. Check me out on the other social media avenues. Mark's Inspiration, Mark Daniels. You'll come up on Google. And it's been great being with you guys this last year. I want to thank you to my 1,651 subscribers. Take care. May all your dreams come true.